righty. I do believe we are live on Facebook. We are here at a roundtable talk to discuss how to sell out offers, how to fill those programs. Yeah. And I just want to welcome everyone who's joining me live. Lindsay, Nancy, Donica, Sue. Is it Raquel? And Amy. So this is what I want to say first and foremost. I want to welcome everyone who's watching this, whether it's live or on the replay. I want to start this conversation off with an example. I'm going to use Amy as an example, and I'm going to go through the different elements that I see are present in successful promotions. And I want to define what a promotion is because very few people actually ever do a promotion. They think they are, but they're not. And an online promotion is very different than when I sold out and got clients in the offline world. It's a very different scenario. So we're going to do all the things, but this is what I'm asking you to do, is to be as open and honest as you're willing to be, because this can be a very frustrating, mysterious experience. And we'll talk about, what works, what doesn't, what you love, what you hate, what you're hung up on. We'll just talk it out. How's that sound? Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is this is, Amy, I'm going to have you go ahead and unmute yourself. And Amy, I want to tell you thank you for being willing to be like the living, breathing case study. Yeah.
And thank you so much.
Perfect.
I'm
Yes.
happy.
No,
Yeah,
you
thank
keep
you.
that camera off. It's only 5:30 a.m. in Brisbane, so you don't have to show your face. I mean, it's 12:30 for me and I still have wet hair. Can you all tell I've been doing all kinds of things today? Yeah. So when Amy and I met, Amy came into my world, joined Rich Mixer, joined the mastermind. We started working together privately. And there's a few things that I want to state out loud about Amy, because I'm going to give you elements of a good promotion, but there are elements that I call the unspoken elements. And these are usually what hang people up before they even get into action. So number one, Amy is not new to her work and to her business. Okay. So if you're new to your business, if you haven't been in business for that long, I would say 3 years or less, or you've been online for 3 years or less, if you haven't worked with 50 or 100, 1,000 clients, it's going to be different than if you have, right? So Amy is not new to her work. She's not new to selling these services. This is important because it's not the same starting ground. Okay. Also, something that needs to be said is Amy walks her talk. So Amy does what she teaches. So there's been many times when I have seen people and they struggle to sell their programs because if they're saying, the ticket to this, that, and the other is through this strategy, and they are not actually using that strategy and talking about how they use that strategy and the results that they get, there's a disconnect. And here's the thing I want to tell you, for anyone who is transitioning from an offline to the online world's way more savvy. You ain't going to pull no wool over nobody's eyes. Okay. I'm not going to lie, like depending on how small of a town you're from or a small community or whatever it is, right? Those people are a lot more naive. They're not as savvy, right? I could give them an offer right now that's 10 years outdated from the internet, maybe even 20 years outdated from the internet, and they would think it was the best thing since sliced bread. So the internet is way more savvy. So Amy practices what she preaches. It's really important. Amy also does not have issues around promoting herself. Most people do. Amy doesn't have a negative self-talk loop. Okay, most people do. Most people, what they wake up and they tell themselves probably 100 to 300 times in a day, I don't think I can do this. I don't know if I'm in the right thing. I don't know if I have the right offer. Maybe I'm too much. I don't know if anyone likes it. I don't know if this is going to work. There's all this negative self-talk. Okay. Whenever we have negative self-talk, whatever we say to ourselves more often than not, right? Because we all have trash days and bad moments, but more often than not, we don't ever have to tell them they know it. I don't know how they know it, but they know it. Okay. Online, there's this it factor of People either want to stand closer to you or they don't. There's no in between. Either they want to stand closer to you because they perceive you as someone who can help them get what they want, or they do not perceive you as that because you probably hadn't got what you wanted. Okay. There's only two camps. So all of these things Amy had, I could spot it. I could sense it. I've worked with too many people, right? So having said all that, yeah. Amy, do you want to describe? I wrote some notes because, of course, I stalk you all. I watch your content. I actually had seen Amy's content before she hired me in someone else's group. I knew her content. So when she hired me, I just knew I had to fix that content. I knew I had to fix those posts, right? But Amy, do you want to describe in your own words maybe how you were posting or how you were going about filling your programs?
100%. And I
Oh,
do
hold
just,
on. There we go.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Wonderful. I do want to say one quick thing about the negative self-talk. I did come from that place. All of the things that you said, I experienced. So if you're new, know where you're going and be really sure about it. And there are times that I am still needing to say to myself, nope, not today. Doesn't matter how many times you post. So I just want to say that even at this point, Monique, you're 100%, of course, correct in what you're seeing. And there's still self-talk that goes, doesn't matter, right? There's women looking for you. Like, don't be a baby. There's people that need you. So there's a different self-talk when those things come up. So I just wanted to clarify that because I don't know because I haven't gotten to the point where it doesn't exist at all. It's much less often, but I'm able to totally follow through and not get derailed. So that is something that's definitely keep working on those things with these strategies. What did it look like before? Tippy, stop. Excuse me, my dog is being a toddler. Stop. I'm like, my
Well,
kids left, and now my dog is like
the dog is like, I'm the baby. Yeah,
digging, and I'm like, come on.
it's okay. Let the
So
dog be the star of the show.
yeah,
Is
I
this a
picked
boy
her up
or a
before
girl?
you
Yeah.
put a kid on your lap. I like tried to put her behind me. Anyway, what did it look like before I started working with Monique? Now, I started working with Monique, I think like 3 weeks ago, four tops, and that was coming into Rich Mixer. So for the one-on-one, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. Prior to meeting Monique, I was doing all the things, right? Maybe not all of them. I knew what to do, but it wasn't working. And what I mean by not working was I couldn't tell people were moving towards me. So I was posting a lot of content that got people to say, you're so inspiring, or they would stop me when I was out locally. Your content's amazing. Now, this is business owners, right? Retail business owners telling me, like, oh my God, like, keep doing what you're doing. It's working. And that was different than it's interesting because a couple years ago I was just saying I'm looking for women who want to lose weight. I'm looking for women who want this. And people would stop me in the restaurants and local. I live in a resort town and say, I saw your post. I don't know what a high achieving woman is, but I want to lose weight by next week. So what's changed, what I was doing when Monique was stalking my content was a lot of education,
Mhm.
a lot of trying to connect. And I don't want to say connection is bad, but it wasn't good for business in that way. I wasn't connecting with any sort of a strategy that was working business wise. People really liked me. They love my voice. They want to take my yoga class. They want to hear me speak, but they weren't paying me.
Okay, so
um,
I like what you said here, Amy. I'm going to pause you right there. This is really important for you all to know, to notice, write down. Okay. Everything Amy just said is what almost every single one of my clients has told me. Okay. People liked me. They'd say, you're so inspiring. Love the reel, love the outfit, love the hair, love it. I just love you. Okay. But they're not loving us with their credit card. Okay. And she also made a really good point. Many people think that education and connection is what leads to the sell. And I love connection. And as Amy said, connection is not a bad thing. But connection without a call to action, connection without activating them to action will lead to I'm doing things and I'm not getting clients, but I'm getting lots of fangirls. I'm getting lots of positive feedback. And here's the crazy thing. Really hear me on this. Amy could have really gotten an interesting loop because she could have went to her husband and said, everyone says they love my content. Everyone says they love my reels. Everyone says I'm inspiring them. I just got to keep going. I had a client who recently told me this. Everyone loves my content, so I just got to keep going. And then one day the right person will buy from me. I go, I hate to break it to you. I'm going to deliver the really hard news. When people say your content inspires me, that's actually your sign to change your content immediately. Immediately. That needs to be the biggest red flag you've ever seen. We don't want that. Okay. We want payment notifications. We want people in the inbox saying, I want to work with you. I want that. How do I get that? How much does it cost? What's your thing? How can I buy four? Yeah. So,
Mhm.
Amy, I'm going to give an example. Okay. Because you already know I have screenshots. I have screenshots on you all. So a couple of things I made note of. Amy was doing more vague posts, right? So high achieving women who are 40, 50, or 60, who you want to feel good again. You want to be inspired. You want to feel like yourself. Okay. That's what she was saying. So we went from using inspirational posts to moving into asking for the sale. So I still remember the first time Amy came to Rich Mixer, she said her sentence, she had 3 promises. Okay. You're going to feel empowered in your life. You're going to feel inspired. You're going to feel like yourself again. Okay. I'll never forget it. And she finished and I maybe asked her 1 or 2 questions. And I said, yeah, so what you're going to say from now on is want to have a snatched waist, want to get your waistline back. I said, that's all you're going to say on repeat because that's actually the one big bold promise that her program delivers. Now, can we all be real for a second? A woman who looks like she's 6 months pregnant when she's 49 and everything is tight and she doesn't like her closet, she doesn't like the way she looks, and she hides in pictures, she doesn't give a rip about feeling inspired. She wants her waist back. Okay, so let's do a little further here. Amy was selling them what she knew they needed and what would happen in their time together. She was not selling them what they already knew they wanted. Very different things. Many of you are selling people what you know they need instead of what they know they want. Yeah. Okay. So Amy, let's go on to the next thing. I just said my next thing. That was point number 2. Okay. So we went from having 3 vague promises. When you work with me, you'll feel this, this, and this, to 1 big bold promise. You're going to get your waist back. Okay. You went from inspirational posts that were kind of like asking people to comment, right? Is this you? Or comment, empower in the comments, right? To just directly asking for the sale. Want your waist back? Join my 6-week reset. It's this amount of money. Door closes on this date. Link is here. Get your butt in. That is directional content. That actually demonstrates leadership. Okay. So here's the thing that people forget is people didn't actually, well, let's be honest, they weren't willing to pay Amy for inspiration, but they have shown that they were willing to pay for leadership. This lady knows how to help me get my waist back. She says this is the first step. Then she's going to give me the next steps. And she's literally taking them across the line, right? That's how she got paid. So Amy, how many people joined the 6-week reset when you stopped with that one language and you switched your language?
15 women stepped up and said yes. So, yes, thank you so much, Donica. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Nancy. So amazing, right? And the one thing that I just was in Courtney's Alive, I want to celebrate because I did not pause to celebrate that enough. So, thank you. Because that's huge, right? It's not that I haven't worked with that many women before, but it's been very different. And this was all from directly posting. And then I did do personal invitations as well. I did just like get in the DMs with people with your guidance, but it was again that direct. There was no like, I did actually make the mistake of starting to ask questions. And what do you think those people did? They ran away. The people that I said, oh, you want this? Here's the answer. It's $497. Doors close on February 28th at midnight. Here you go. And I didn't add get to me with questions or let me know what you think or anything else. Those people, even if they took till February 28th, they bought. So it was just a very different. I got over the, I know myself. When my jeans are tight, I feel like crap and I do something about it. So I'm not, my jeans still get tight because I still like to party sometimes or, whatever it is. But I know immediately. And when you said that, Monique, like I was like trying to be a good girl and, oh, I don't want to tell people they're fat and, and oh, vanity metrics. But you know what? You're right. People don't want to reconnect with their, highest self unless they fit in their freaking jeans.
Thank you. Thank you. That's just the truth. Okay, so this is really helpful, Amy, and I appreciate you doing this. So I'm going to go through the elements of what I see as in a proper promotion, and then we're going to open this up. Okay, we're going to do the real talk. So let's talk about what is actually a promotion, because some people, they kind of just promote whenever they feel like it, right? Whenever they're inspired. And I want to talk about this because whether it's people who are religious, people who are spiritual, people who follow their human design, people who follow the stars, people who follow their pet psychic, whatever it is, there's people who will say all the time, well, I didn't post today, Monique, because I wasn't inspired to. And you know what I say to that? Well, you better start manufacturing that freaking inspiration. If that's what it takes for you to post every day, then you better create a life and an environment where you're inspired every day, because the owner of Hilton, they don't make money when they're inspired and when their kids are behaving and when the dog didn't barf on the carpet. They make money every day. And what's interesting with women in particular in business is they think that their inspiration is the ticket. Okay. You personally feeling inspired. I went and sold huge programs like on the days where I'm like, you know what, you're all pissing me off. Boys are being too loud. Somebody dropped the grape juice. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's actually no connection between your inspiration and filling a program. I'm just going to say that out loud. And people will argue with me. I'm going to get hate mail after this, right? But the truth of the matter is most people put way too much stock in that. And if this is your belief that you can't get a client or you can't promote or you can't post or you can't show up unless you feel fabulous, well, then you better set out your 2 hour morning routine and feel fabulous every freaking day. Like that then becomes the linchpin for your business, because you cannot go days and days and days or weeks and weeks and all this, right? So a proper promotion, you need an irresistible offer. Okay. And I don't want to downplay this because there's many people I see, that offer is never going to sell. I'm just going to tell you the truth. If Amy would have hired me and said, I want to promote this, and I knew it wasn't an irresistible offer, I would have had to tell her the truth. Amy, this is a shit offer. Okay, there's good offers, there's mediocre offers, there's bad offers, and there's irresistible offers. So let's pause on that for a second. And I love what Nancy said, like, can you walk us through for new people? Yeah, I'm gonna keep this in mind, okay? So how do you know you have an irresistible offer? It's crystal clear. People don't need an education. They don't need a backstory. Think about what I just said about Amy. You want your waist back? You want to be able to button your pants for the first time and God knows when? Right? That's simple. I don't need a master's of psychology to figure this out. I don't need to be smart. I don't need to be educated on the health and wellness industry. I don't need to understand anything. I just need to have half a brain to understand Amy's offer. So it needs to be super simple, super clear. And here's what I always put in with an irresistible offer. It needs to have one big, bold promise. When people come to me and they go, well, my offer, I don't know why it's not selling. I have 42 calls with me and access and messenger. And, I also include like every course I've ever done. I go, uh-huh. So nobody's paying for calls with you. No one's paying for access to you. No one's paying for courses. What they're paying for is getting one thing they have not been able to get and getting it as quickly as possible. So if you don't have a big, bold promise, okay, a lot of people go, well, I don't want to have a big, bold promise because I can't guarantee that will happen. I get it, but we're working on the internet, okay? If Amy would have said, I'm going to do my best to help you get your waist back and to get back into your clothes, but I can't guarantee results. And, just really, it's hard to say. If she would have done all that, she wouldn't have got 15 people in, right? It's like, do you want to follow a leader who has no freaking confidence? Follow me. I don't know if we're going to get lost. I don't know if I'm going to take you off a cliff, but follow me, right? It's always about the leadership. And so, what's the one big bold promise of your offer? Maybe put it in the chat, put it in the comments. What is your one big bold promise? And if you're not sure, you can just say, I'm not sure, but I'm going to go craft this, right? I'm going to go figure this out. Because it can't be that you have sovereignty over your life. It can't be that you're empowered. It can't be that your nervous system is regulated. It can't be those things because I want to taste it, touch it, feel it. I need something in my real life in order to pay you real money. Because you know what people do when you make this vague and it's like hard to know and it's 46 calls, they go, I think I can figure it out on my own. I bet I could figure this out for free. Yeah. So you've got to know what this promise is. So Sue, can I use you as an example? She said, have unshakable self-confidence. What does unshakable self-confidence give me? Okay. So for example, if I was a dating coach or if I was a matchmaker, I used to watch The Millionaire Matchmaker. I don't know if you all used to watch Bravo Trash TV, but I used to love her. Okay. This lady had all the confidence in the world. If she was like, you and you're meant for each other, people freaking believed her and they paid her over $100,000 to say that, right? And now when I see people online, like they so need the millionaire matchmaker in their life, they're like, I don't know, I'm going to help you receive the love of your life. Like nobody's paid for that. They paid her $100,000 because she said, I know how to spot compatibility. And when I pair you up, I'm telling you, I know it. People buy that certainty. And it's like, we have to know what does having that then give them. Okay. So great. I'm so glad I'm more open to receiving love. Why do I care about that? Why? Well, you're not married and you want to get married, right? You don't have the dream job, but you want the dream job. Whatever it is. So it has to be that tangible thing. Okay. So the offer, and I'm just going to say it real right now. The offer right now has to be like hot shit to sell. Amy probably doesn't even realize this, but selling 15 people in a 2-week time period on the internet right now is an accomplishment. Okay. People don't do this every day. Okay. The other thing is you have to have deadlines. So this is what Amy and I talked about. She was like, well, people could join the 6-week anytime, really, technically. It's just always there. I go, no, they can't. Not anymore. Even if you have an evergreen offer, even if it's a digital course, even if they technically enrollment is always open, you cannot frame it like that. Okay, because let me tell you a little something about human beings. They want to do everything later. This very, very beautiful place of later, everything's easier and better later and down the road and next week and next month and next spring, they'll have more money and more clarity, right? So I said, no, that's not true ever again. This is the promotion period. So you have to set your promotion period. How many days, weeks, or months are you promoting this offer? And if they get it in this time frame, they get it for this price. And then once that date is over, the price is going up, or this bonus disappears, or that thingamajigger changes. If there's no reward and if there's no consequence for them choosing later, they'll always choose later, which means they're never going to buy from you. Okay, never. So you have to have timelines, deadlines, incentives is the next thing. Okay. So you have to have a time frame, and you need to say this in every post. When you join my yada yada, you have till this date at this time to get it at this price. And then the price incentive is this. I mean, you guys see me do this every single day, right? If you join Rich Mixer by this date, you can pay this amount. You wait till after, you absolutely, you can come in, but it's not going to be that same price. It's going to go up. So you have to have price incentives. And then no doubt the most important aspect of this is repetition. Okay. Amy referenced this. The difference between someone who is their own worst enemy and someone who is on their own team, someone who is on their own team and they're going to be okay catches themselves when they're saying something shit. Oh, I just had a thought. Nobody even commented on my last 3 posts, so why should I post again? But I caught myself mid-sentence and I was like, yeah, thanks for your input. We're doing this anyway because promotion is not over. Cart's still open. We have a plan. We're marching on. Someone who is really sabotaging themselves, they don't catch it. They're actually unaware it's happening. Yeah. So, let's open it up now. Okay. So let's talk real. And when I say repetition, should I define it for you? In a promotion period, okay, so like Amy promoted, let's say the promotion period is 2 weeks at this price point with these incentives, posting 3 to 10 times a day, post, long form, color block, reels, go live, email your list. It's a blitz, okay? When I see people who are like, I actually had someone recently, they're like, I only have 2 days left in my promotion. Do you have any suggestions for me? I go, you've been doing a promotion? Oh, honey, no, that's not a promotion. You posted 2 times in the last 7 days. That's not a promotion. You're not promoting jack, diddly, or squat. Okay. So it's 3 to 10 posts every day in a promotion period. Oh, but Monique, that's going to exhaust me. I'll tell you what's exhausting. Half-assing everything in your life and business. That's the most exhausting thing. Okay. This is why I say when I'm on, I'm on, and when I'm off, I'm off. Practice this. Go wholehearted, go all in, go 5th gear, and then shut it down. Sleep, rest, eat. Right? Okay, let's open it up. Question, comments, let's any of the things I just said, and I want to talk about the beginner thing too. So Nancy, you want to open that up?
Whoops. Hi. Yeah, because I spent my entire life in the corporate world. And so I launched the first program in September, and it's morphed since then, particularly since talking to you a little bit. And I'm still not, people just don't seem to understand what I do. And I don't know how to say it better
Mhm.
than what you've given me. And you're right, when I'm doing a promotion, when I've tried to fill a program, I do post 2 to 3 times a day. And for anybody who's having trouble, honestly, just pre-schedule it. I do it all on one day. I schedule a month of content on Facebook. I don't really do Instagram, but on Facebook, I do it all on a Sunday morning, like right after I wake up. I plan it all out for 2 or 3 days, and then I get up and I just do it. And then if I post more than 3 times a day, that means something hit me. Okay, so I had that down pat from the beginning. I understood that assignment. But so my big bold promise these days, as I've listened to you, is that in 30 days you'd move from spinning and second guessing to having a clear decision and a plan that lives on your calendar and real progress is underway.
Okay. Okay. So let's unpack this. That So yes, I would say your offer is hard to understand because I've been watching you for like 6 months and I'm like, I don't know what she sells. I don't know what this is. Right.
Okay.
I was actually so happy when you joined Rich Mixer because I was like, I'm going to ask her. Right. Because it's a little
Okay.
weird if I go stalking you and you're not a client yet. So that's the first thing I'd say. Okay. Second thing I would say is this: there's 2 things in your promise that are not working. Okay. So everyone hear me. You might think you're working with adults. You're not. You're working with impatient toddlers. Okay. When somebody says, I'm going to get you a result in 30 days, 30 days, it's like saying you're taking me to Disneyland in 30 days. Like, forget you. I want to get in the car now. Right. I can't tell these boys I'm going to take them to do something fun in 30 days. They'll drive me nuts. That's a long window. What I want to know, Nancy, is first of all, I don't think it'll take 30 days. That's the first thing, right? I don't think it'll take 30 days. I don't think it'll take 30 days. So go over this promise again because it was so long I couldn't hang on to it. It's not get your waist back, right? So how do we take that?
No, well, I started out in time management. like thinking I would teach people, because when I was in real estate, everyone used to say they didn't like time blocking doesn't work for them. They don't get anything done. I had a business partner who complained every day her to-do list was the same. That's where, between that and my corporate world of seeing people be chaos coordinators, this all kind of came together for me. And then as I kept thinking about it, I'm like, there's more to it. It's actually decision fatigue, right? Because you're always, especially when if you go from the corporate world to the entrepreneur world, trust me, as someone who's lived this for 2.5 years, I'm deciding everything. I don't have a finance department to tell me anything. I don't have a marketing department. And so you're
You just said
completely
something.
overwhelmed.
You just said it. You just nailed it. Okay.
What did
Because
I
what
nail?
I'm going to tell you that, so you just said it. Your ideal client is actually transitioning from corporate to owning their own business. That's
Mhm.
the exact person that's going to have a problem with this. Cause I'm just going to tell you something. Like I read, cause I subscribe to all you people. You're like my morning news. You said like your offer is best for people who are having a hard time making so many decisions. And see, for someone who's been in business for so long, I'm like, I don't ever think about that. Like, I don't have a hard time making 400 decisions before the sun comes up. I don't have decision fatigue, right? So I couldn't relate to it and I couldn't figure out who is this, right? Because everyone in my circle, it's like, not only do we make decisions for ourselves, we make decisions for everybody else. Yeah. And we
Yes.
actually we like it, right? Okay, so this is the real ticket. And here's what's going to make the difference for you. Okay. The posts you've been doing, not it. The thing you just said, your story. Okay. For some people, storytelling is a key component, and for others, not as much. Okay. You said it. You said, I've lived this. I went from corporate. Okay. Now I'm gonna here's a disclaimer, I've never worked in corporate. Okay. So I might be totally um, wrong when I say this, but this is how I see corporate employees. And this is why I see that I told you this in one of these things. Women who come from corporate often really struggle in business. Okay. And this is why I imagine why. You have a job, you have things you do, you have hours you work, you have someone who tells you when you can go potty and when you can have lunch, and you have to ask to take a day off. And there's all this structure that somebody else does, right? I remember my first corporate, left corporate client, and she was like, I'm wasting all day. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I quit my job, I have all day to work in my business, and I do nothing. I have done nothing for weeks. I was like, oh yeah. So corporate is almost like this. It's this, like you all have no muscle tone because somebody else was bossing you around all the time. Okay. And so you didn't have to think as much as an entrepreneur. And you're right, you didn't have to wear so many different hats. You just did your one thing, right? And also, I can see this in your offer. You're trying to offer one very specific thing. And I like offers that address one specific thing, but in the entrepreneur world, it might be too niche. It might be too specific.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No,
So
I've wondered that.
yes, I think it, and here's the thing. I forgot to say this, but I like you, right? And I want you to succeed. I I think it might be too specific and too niche. Okay. But I think what will help is if you start talking about your experience and that you work with women who are transitioning and who are like, I I don't know how to, because this is actually like it's a change in your identity and your responsibility level, and you have to figure so many things out. So I think that actually, if you start with your story, your offer is going to present itself. Go have lots of conversations with women who are transitioning from corporate to owning their own online business and ask them, what's the hardest thing? What blows your mind? What did you never realize you weren't prepared for? I want you to have these conversations. They're going to inspire what your offer is. And then you're going to be able to say exactly what they said to you back to them on the internet. And then that will pull people in. I think people who are entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs, they're not going to connect with this offer and this work.
Okay. Fair assessment.
Is that helpful? And this is important, right? Because like not everyone's our people. Like Amy, there might be people who are like, I didn't give a shit about my waist, right? My husband likes me and I like fudge and biscuits and gravy, right? Everyone's not her person. But when she said what she said, the people who are her people were like, yeah, that's me. That's what I'm thinking, Nancy. But
Okay.
I don't want you to do social media posts that are marketing posts. I want you to drop all marketing posts. I want
Mhm.
you to describe, to storytell, to talk about why you left corporate, how you're coming into business, what is insane about the transition. And I want you to invite people to move toward you to have these conversations. You could actually host these conversations in a setting very similar to this. It will
Mhm.
be gold for you. You'd get everything you could possibly need.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Because here's the thing I've also learned about corporate women. Once they understand the assignment,
Mhm.
they can do it, right? They'll check it off the list. They'll go through the steps. But it's when things are fuzzy, it's like, I don't know what action to take, and I don't know if I should keep taking it because I can't tell if I'm on the right track. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Okay. What else? Who else wants to talk about this? Let's talk about what's working, what's not working, what's frustrating. Anybody?
I would say offering something that I want, but thinking
Mm,
everybody that I'm speaking, they gotta want this too.
bingo. This is a great point, Donica. Okay, and this is an interesting thing. This can be a real tough lesson for entrepreneurs. So some people they create all their offers based on what they like or what they want or what they need. Yeah. And what this there's a section of overlap here. Okay, so for me, there's two things that have to come together. I have to be excited and want to do it, and obviously feel like I can, bring something to the table with it. But also, I have to have seen all over the internet that people are asking for this, and we have to overlap. Okay. If I just think it's a good idea or I just want it for you, it's not going to be enough. And I want to talk to this whole energy of wanting it for other people more than they want it for themselves. Yeah, because this is it's a it's a tough one. And this is where I did a slight course correction with Amy, because when she started getting in conversations in the DMs when people would ask for information, I said, back off. Just give them the link, give them the directives, because here's the thing, what naturally happens, because we like our work and we're passionate about our work and we love it and we know how much we're going to help people. We get into this conversation and they get the sense that we're more excited than they are. We want it more than they do. And the polls flip. And then it's just over. You lean forward and they lean back. They're out of there, right? Uh, great point. The other thing, to Nancy's point about being new, this is what I would say is new people who think that they're going to post online and get someone to go from 0 to like a 5 or 10 or 15K offer. It happens sometimes. There's some personalities who can pull it off way better than others. It rarely happens. So if you're new, what I would say is this, is you have to demonstrate your skills all the time. And you have to create ways for people to move closer to you and be in a conversation with you for them to go, oh yeah, she's got it. There's sort of this incubation section. It doesn't have to last a long time. They don't have to be in that space for very long. But I think that when people have been online for less than 3 years, they're newer to business, and they try to take people from 0 to 10,000, probably not going to happen. This is the other reason why I say it doesn't even matter what you have to do to get people to be in your presence. It's worth it. Some people do this with low ticket offers. Some people do this with memberships, Facebook groups, whatever you want to do. It's a key component. All right. Raquel, did you want to make an appearance? Okay, hold on. I can't hear you yet. I think you're still unmuted or still muted. Hold on. It's okay. As soon as you find the button, I'm going to talk to you, but I'm going to answer Amy's question here. When people say I should be able to do it myself, what do you say? First of all, I laugh. I laugh right in their faces. Yeah. And if you could, you would have. Why are you talking to me about it, right? Yeah. This is one of the big things too with promotion is you have to be willing to get real. And this is part of where people assess your leadership, okay? Because if you lie to people, they won't trust you. Okay? So when somebody says, I should be able to do it myself, I go, but you haven't. So what are we going to do about it? And you know the other thing I ask them, Amy? How long have you been trying to do it yourself? Cool. So you've been trying to lose this baby weight for three years, or the kids are in college and you're still trying to lose the baby weight. Guess what, Beck? I'm gonna level with you because I like you, but you're lying to yourself. It's not going to happen. So you need to do, this is why I tell people you need to do one of two things. You either need to say, I'm not going to lose the baby weight because I haven't done it in 18 years and I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to make peace with that. Or I'm going to stop bullshitting myself and I'm going to hire Amy today. But I tell them straight up, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. I'm not going to debate this. I'm not going to justify and explain. I'm just going to have you look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself the truth. And then let me know what you decide. Hi, Raquel.
Hi, thank you for being patient. That I can find the volume button. I think so. I offer. So I'm working as a nervous system therapist and somatic psychotherapist for like over a decade online as well. So I started online, and I've always only really worked online. So I've always had an online business started that way. But I've recently decided to fully transition across to mentoring other practitioners, working with clients rather than working directly with people's was really where I started. So I'm really trying to help people understand that I can help them when they're hitting trick spots with their clients and how they can get better results, but the focus I'm making is that it can uncap your client numbers, can improve your business sales, and that you can avoid burnout through taking my approach, which is a little unusual because I take a lot of different modalities and support practitioners in really finding where the sticking points are with them and their clients, But I'm not going into that in big education. I'm avoiding educating people like I used to educate people a lot. People used to really follow me for my content. Being clients was another matter, so I'm not doing that these days. But I'm just wondering if there's anything that I don't know, that I can see it up a little, I guess.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
need.
Okay, so I want you to repeat those things again. You get more, you said something like when you work with people, it helps them get more something for their business and something else and something else. Say those things again.
Yeah, so I'm saying uncap your client numbers. That's the word phrasing I'm using. Avoiding burnout and getting better results for their clients.
Okay. So this is what I want you all to see, and you all can probably hear it faster than she can, right? Because when we're in our own business, we cannot see and hear ourselves. It all makes sense in our world. So you have 3 promises instead of 1. You're in the same position Amy was. You have 3 vague promises instead of 1 big, bold promise. Okay. So when somebody says uncap your, client numbers, that's not specific, right? So like when I did my mastermind and I said, my mastermind is really showing people how to have 30 to 100 people move toward them every month. Now, that might not be for one-on-one clients.
Right.
That might just be, I'm interested and you get to pick your favorite, or maybe that's for a low ticket. Maybe that's for a mastermind, right? But when I had one big, bold promise, when you come to my mastermind, you have 30 to 100 people move towards you.
Yeah.
We know what that means. That's specific, right? So when you say uncap, When you say avoid burnout, okay,
Mhm.
same thing. It's just jargon.
Mm.
And you get
Mhm.
better results. What does that mean? What does that mean, right? So
Yeah.
there's 3 instead of 1, and none of it's
Mhm.
specific, okay? And this is the other thing, Raquel, is that when we use language that we see a lot on the internet, and we have an internet business, because I know that you and like 400 people on my feed are saying, when you work with me, I'm going to help you avoid burnout. Okay, so then what you do without even
Mm.
realizing you're doing it, you go, I'm one of 400 options.
Yeah, I don't really do the burnout very often for exactly that reason. But for exactly that reason. So it is a feature, but I don't it's not one of the ones I really emphasize. But I sometimes mention it in passing different ways. Yeah.
Yep. So I
Mm.
want you to work on your one big bold promise that doesn't sound like everyone on the internet and that's super specific. And your ideal client is like, I want that. Like, I will
Okay,
pay any
so
amount of money.
let me throw this at you, because this is, I think, one of, I just haven't been able to work out how to make it right for a practitioner.
Mm,
So I'm really, really quite specialized in helping people work with their rage.
mhm,
Okay. And I've done a lot of work in developing processes, somatic processes, helping people process rather than get stuck in cycles of venting and, catharsis, basically. So those tools are really effective for coaches and practitioners to be able to support their clients with, right? But I just quite know how to communicate that in a way that, because really they had to go through it themselves, I would have to take them through it themselves. I don't want to move myself out of the perceived position of being a mentor rather than a therapist. I'm okay to do the therapy, but I don't want to move myself out of that position because that feels like I'm going backwards. So I'm
mhm,
trying to say, look, I can help you with your rage, I can help you with your client's rage in a way that doesn't move out of the mentor role. Is that
mhm.
maybe a more like
Okay.
a bolder promise?
Okay. So let's talk about this. What are they mad about? What do they have rage about?
Well, if they're a practitioner, they probably they may feel resentful toward their clients, right? So that would be a practitioner rage. But a general female rage, about like all the fucking shit that we have to deal with on it, as a woman in this world, there's a lot of unexpressed or unfelt or unprocessed rage.
Processed. I would go with the
Yeah.
first one because it's specific.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I have said this, it's all over the internet. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it again. So I have said, when people go, hey, Monique, when you lost your daughter, or when you went through a hard time with your mom, or this, that, the other, why didn't you go to a therapist? And I said, well, because honestly, most therapists hate their job and their clients, and they have to drink in between patients. And so I'm not going to get involved into that loop. Okay.
No.
And this is because I have had a therapist friend sit at this table, and she hates
Yes,
every one of her clients. Okay.
they do.
And
They complain a lot about their clients. You're absolutely right. They do.
okay. And it's
Mm.
a difficult position because most people aren't going to change. They're really not. No matter
Mhm.
what, they're not going to change.
No.
So I think this is a
Mm.
genius angle, Raquel. If you said you were a practitioner, you got into this work because you care and you know how to make a difference, and yet
Mhm.
the hard part is accepting your clients' choices and what they do, and you don't want to
Mhm.
feel resentment, but that's actually a lot of care and compassion and wanting the best for them. But it starts boiling, right? And then it shows up like this, and this. And now you hate your work and right? Oh, that's it, right?
Mhm.
And then you're going to take all this and then we'll
Mhm.
distill it down to one thing. But I help practitioners who love their work, but resent their clients. Let's
Yeah.
process that for you and them.
Mhm.
This I like, and you
Mhm.
can say this without saying any fancy words, without any jargon. And let me tell you
Mhm.
something, the practitioners, they will go, she's talking about me. Okay.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I felt that it was juicy. I just didn't quite know how to get past the am I talking about the practitioner or a client piece.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
What else? Who else wants to talk? Questions, comments, what's working, what's not working, what's frustrating? How many of you have done promotion periods? Like you've done real set promotion periods and you're 100% all in? Yeah. Okay. Nancy, excellent. So here's the other thing I could say is if you have done promotion periods. So when I first came online, I did a 21-day promotion period. I don't even know how I came up with this, but I was just like, you know what? I feel like I got to focus because on the internet, there's a lot of things flying, right? There's a lot of shiny things and funny cat videos and wackadoos and great stuff. But it's just it's like a whole mixed bag, right? So I just got this idea early on, like I need to repeat myself for a certain number of days. So the very first offer I had, I promoted for 21 days and I had 11 people buy. Okay. And that was a real breakthrough for me. And I observed my own behavior. I looked at my post. I looked at, conversations in the DMs. But one of the things that I realized after I worked with clients and we did promotion periods is if my clients were doing a 14 to 21 day promotion period and they had the elements that I told them and they didn't sell, then we knew the offer was the problem. The issue for most people is they don't know if it's their half-ass efforts, their lack of clear language, their lack of deadlines, pricing, or their offer. So the way that you can begin to really get clarity on what is not the right, because it's a recipe, right? So which one of these ingredients isn't quite right? Do a promotion with all the things that I mentioned for 14 to 21 days. And if people don't buy it, it's the offer. Okay.
May I say something?
Yeah.
I have a comment and then I have a question. Uh, my adult daughter, she sees what I do, and she does not want me to have payment plans.
Mm.
And then she just says, you need people that can buy.
Mm.
And then my question is, what if my offer is in a future date? So I'm learning today my promotion period is too long, but I
Mm.
built it in a way that you can pay monthly until the program
Mhm.
starts.
Mhm.
But I want my daughter to work with me, but she's like, no, you gotta get the people that can pay. And so what do I do? Because
Mhm.
I'm learning today my promotion is too long.
Okay. Okay. So that's a good thing that you're walking away with. You know that you're giving them too long. And I will just tell you, when you begin to do promotions like this, you're going to train your audience and they're going to know what to expect. And then when you actually raise the price on the day you said, let me tell you something, the next time you do a promotion, they won't be dragging butt. Okay. I had a client, I said 14 ways to Sunday, it's midnight Eastern Standard Time. And I don't know, she did her calculation wrong and she missed it and I had to hold it, right? And to your point, in terms of payment plans. So this is not it's not a one size fits all. Okay. I'm going to say that first and foremost. Some people, I think it's a good idea for them to have payment plans, and some people it's a really bad idea. Okay. Who is it a bad idea for? Well, first of all, give me your price point. I think that'll be helpful too.
Okay, $7.97, $9.97, $23.97, and $99.97.
Okay. So what I would say is this, and if I'm getting where your daughter's coming from, her concern or her observation is mom's got burned before. Has mom got burned before when she let people do payment notifications? Do people flake out and do silly things? Yeah. Okay. So really what your daughter is saying is, Mom, I've seen how people treat you when you're considerate and accommodating to them. Okay. And let me tell you something, our kids, they are way too smart. They smart. They get it. And I'll tell you one thing that they don't like is when people mistreat their parents and disrespect them, especially when she knows everything that you bring to this. Okay. So your daughter is absolutely correct. So for those of you who've had people who, when you did something to make it easier for them to step forward and then they screwed you, then what you have to do is you have to clean up your boundaries and your energy, and you have to stand a lot taller, and you got to work on your resting bitch face, and you got to get your mean mom look on so that they don't ever do that again. Because if people are pushing you around and they're not making good on their word and they're not following through with their payment plans, they know you're not mean. They know you don't want an uncomfortable conversation. You don't like confrontation. And the minute people around us know that, we are in trouble. They just got us by the nose. Here we go. And what your daughter is saying is, I'm not going to get involved in something where then I'm getting set up to be disrespected too. That's what she's saying. I'm not interested in being disrespected. So, and I think too, there's probably something within you that she sees. There's a belief, and I love our kids. They're like, we ain't doing that anymore. There's probably a belief that she senses is alive in you that this is the only way I can get clients. So there's not people who have, you know, $800 to $10,000 to pay in full. When she's like, yeah, there are. There's people who pay $700,000 in full for hair, makeup, clothes, boots, nails, cars, vacations, kids, soccer, team, all the things, right? The money exists. So what she's really saying is, Mom, I want you to raise your standards. I want you to stand here and say, you got to meet me here. For some people, and this might be true for Donica, the best thing that you can do is put something out and somebody comes into your inbox and goes, I really want to do it, but is there any way you could do a payment plan for me? And you go, no. You tell somebody no. You actually push someone away, because people also can pick up when we're like, I hope you pick me and I hope you say yes and I need you more than you need me, right? They pick up on this, right? I'll never forget this because this was hard for me. I had this nice small town girl running through me hard, big. And I remember one day my husband said, turn away business today. When somebody wants to work with you, tell them no. Oh, I don't want to. I want everyone to like me or hold a boundary. You know, I didn't want to. But I'm going to tell you, it was one of the most profound moments of my life, sitting in that and recognizing what's running my show. Does this make sense, Donica? Is it helpful?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. And like Nancy said, they can get a credit card, they can do Afterpay, they can do Klarna. There is this interesting dynamic when you ask people to be adults, when you ask them to figure that's actually you go figure that out. Yeah. I know I'm going to take good care of you once you cross the line, but don't make that my responsibility. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great point. Great question. Anything else? What else we want to talk about? Hi, Amy Bartoldi. What
Monique,
else?
one of the other big things was going to the finish line, because I've done that in the past where I didn't feel like people were moving and I got bored, or I got not enough people were joining. And instead of celebrating every woman that came in, which was another strategy that you introduced, I was worried about the end result instead of recognizing it wasn't an end result, right? It was the result and data for this promotion that was going to help me go forward from there. So I think it's important to that too. Like you keep saying, you have to have the same energy on the first day as the last day. And that's still something I'm working on, right? I was coming out slowly, being too nice. Like, no, you want to get back in your jeans. Like, so do you still want to get back? Like, that's what I'm thinking, a message to send. Do you still want to get back in your jeans?
Yeah, send out
You
that
know?
email. Send an email out that says, do you still want to get back in your jeans? You want to lose all the weight you gained in December and January, still sitting there and starting to pile up, right? Yeah, exactly. So let's unpack that a little bit. So this is true. So promotions are really not about them and their behavior and what they do. and how many people come in and how much money you make. Promotions, and this is what I do with my private clients every single time. I'll run them through a series of promotions, because really promotion periods show who you are. Okay. So, and I always say this, and when I start a promotion period, this is, I mean, I have my own thing. And for some of you, you might want to write it down. You might want to record yourself on video. I record voice notes for myself. I say, Monique, awesome. You're in a promotion period. You're going to be promoting this for this many days till this date. And here's the thing. Nothing matters more than your attitude, your enthusiasm, your confidence, your certainty, and you having a ton of fun doing this. Light your hair on fire. Let them watch you burn. Let them see what it looks like when a woman is all in on herself. Okay. And whatever they do is irrelevant. And I'm going to tell you, my very first promo when I came online was so eye-opening. I told you I promoted for 21 days. I had 11 people say yes. On day 7, one person said yes. Okay. And then nobody else said yes until the last hour of the promotion, very last minute. Okay. And I still remember that last day. Okay. Because you have to remember the situation of my first promotion. I was living in Mexico with 2 babies. Okay. 1 and 2 years old. My husband and everyone in the United States going, she's going to fail and she's such a horrible mother. Right. And so and my husband fully believes in me, but also he's sweating bullets. And so every day to be like, so, he's watching payment notifications, he's hitting refresh, nothing's happening. And I remember on the last day, he's like, so how you feeling? I go, I am so proud of myself. I feel so good. I was so clear on my message. I was so proud of myself. I felt so good. I literally felt invincible, right? And I held that until the cart closed. And then it was boom, boom, boom. 10 payment notifications came in that day. Okay. And I remember the next morning, I still remember the exact place we went to breakfast. I had chicken chilaquiles, still one of my favorite meals. And we celebrated. And I said, we built our first ATM. Because if all I have to do is be that person and be that excited and that clear and run my mouth every single day, we're golden. And he said, don't I know that's the truth? That's the thing. And so, yeah, you have to catch yourself when on day 4, you're like, I'm bored. Boredom is a huge reason why women don't follow through on promotions. I'm bored. I'm bored with that offer. I thought of a new offer. I want to do something else. I changed my mind. Okay. Most people find discipline to be a dirty word, but I was raised with a lot of discipline. Okay. I was raised with old school. Oh, there we go. That's Brooke. I was raised by old school parents, right? I said this on a live one time. I was raised by the walk it off generation. I don't know if you're all familiar with them. So coddling and big feelings and all those things didn't exist in my world, and discipline was huge in my family. And I am so grateful for my parents that instilled discipline in me. And this is what's missing in a lot of business owners. They lack discipline. They lack follow through. I don't feel like doing it. Don't give a rip. I'm bored. Doesn't matter. Well, nobody bought today. That has nothing to do with anything. There's not enough of that in online business. Yeah. All right. Welcome, Brooke. So any other questions, comments? Yeah, exactly, Lindsay. The brain goes, you know what? Because here's the thing, when we get to that spot, what we're doing is we're feeling the discomfort. Yeah. Also, can we just say it out loud? Most people will not promote for 7, 14, or 21 days because they have way too much pride. I've had people go, I only had 2 people like and comment on my last 3 posts and I just can't do anymore. Whoa, Beck, the internet is what's validating you? Like, let's check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, right? By the way, the number of likes and comments you get on your post has nothing to do with how many people pay you. Derek has noticed this. He's like, you got so few comments during this promotion period and so little interaction. and you still sold 28 spots. Huh? Isn't that fascinating? Right? I sold 28 spots in a short month of February for Power Moves, and those posts got almost no interaction. Do I care? No, I got paid. Yeah. So there's a lot of ego that can get in there. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna look stupid. Oh, my mom says she's sick of seeing my post. My cousin, my ex, yada yada, and no, those people are not paying your bills, right? Yeah, that's so true. All right, what else are we gonna talk about? Yeah, that's it, Brooke. Self-discipline. You got to have a ton of self-discipline for an online business, right? You don't have to drive to a building and flip the sign. You're not paying rent and utilities. So you think, I'll do what I want, how I want. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Really work on the wobbles. Yes. You're in pajamas. You know what's funny, Nancy? Derek and I actually we had this ritual. When we started our business and when we transitioned online, we would get up early, we would get dressed up, and we would have business hours and we'd have money making activities because we needed to make it real. Now, mind you, this is the other thing that makes it hard. Everyone around you doesn't think you actually work, right? People be like, you and Derek just stay home. Yeah, yeah. And I make more than you do all year in 1 month. So yeah, right. So, but it's just hard for people to get. All right, Sue, thanks for coming. Any other questions? Anyone else unmute yourself? Let's talk about it. It's okay if you're not sure what we talked about before you got here. It's okay. Just go ahead, Lindsay.
So I'm new to the online space. I've been doing sales coaching and marketing coaching in person. How do I figure out what will sell in this online space? Like, how do I figure out what people want from me in this world?
You directly ask them. Okay. So this was one of the best things I did in the beginning. It's what I tell my clients all the time to do. Okay. So Lindsay, the most important thing for you to do is to not survey the people who are already connected with you on your not survey your friends list. Okay. You have to join 5, 10 female entrepreneur business groups, for example, and you've got to start asking questions and surveying. Okay. You have to literally say, like, what's your biggest challenge around sales right now, or filling your latest program? What do you hate about this? Like, you're just going to ask questions and ask questions. And some of them, same thing as a promotion. Some of them you're going to get crickets, and some of them you're going to get 600 comments. You're just going to go and ask in a new way, in a different way, in a slightly other way, until they talk back. And then they'll literally tell you exactly what they want. Yeah. And then when they comment and stuff, right, you can ask them, like, what have you already done to try to solve this problem? And the reason I ask people that is because I want to know if they're buyers. Have they spent money? Okay. Because there are some people who've never invested in anything and never will invest in anything that will jump on these because they also have all the time in the world. So I always do some follow-up questions in the comments, like, okay, yep, I hear you, I get that. Tell me what you've invested in so far to solve this problem. If they're like, oh, nothing, I just download 32 freebies every day. Okay. Then you just like, let them go. I don't care what they have to say. You know what I mean? Yeah. Best thing that we can do is get it right from the horse's mouth. Anybody else want to ask a question, conversation? Yeah, Brooke.
I'll ask a question. So, like with what I do with the podcasting, I have a very difficult time removing or getting people to shift their mind from a traditional view of podcasts. It's like that one word just seems to have like this like psychological just like death grip on people's minds. And the only thing they see it for is traditional, just be a podcaster.
Mm.
versus, and when I'm talking, I can present this in a way where I'm bringing up the an authority build, relationship builds, and all of these other things and talk about all of that, and they are on board. And the second that I mention the vehicle that we used for it, it's just as soon as that word podcast comes out of my mouth, it's just like I didn't even say any of this other stuff.
Yep.
So like I don't know how to, no matter how I've positioned it, I can't get that word to quit.
So the problem is that
No.
you're not saying the word up front.
Well, even when I had it before and I was putting it up front, then they just shut me down there and I was told to put it at the back. So I did that and
Who,
still
who are
got
you who are you putting this in front of? Are these brick and mortar or online?
usually online. Some of them are brick and mortar, like attorneys and things like that, but a lot of them can be online as well.
So what I would say is this is I want you to be in different groups.
Okay.
Okay. Similar to Lindsay, I want you to do less on your profile and I want you to be in more groups where it's like online entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because this isn't my experience from entrepreneurs. Online entrepreneurs are like, they can't freaking get enough of the microphone, right? They love having podcasts. So what I would say is it's definitely in your words. Okay. It's definitely in your words. But, what's another way I would say it? So for example, I would probably say it like this. Do you know one of the best ways to get people that you admire and respect into your world is to interview them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's true. I, some of you know this. I will take my favorite, shiniest, most successful people online and I'll
Mm-hmm.
send them a message and I'll be like, hey, listen, I really love what you're up to. Would you be open to an interview? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, so in their mind, they feel like that they're leaving their business and now they're becoming a podcaster?
Yeah, it's like that's what it always shifts to. It's not necessarily that they're leaving their business, but they just don't understand. Like I have them, like as an example, I had one of them one time and it seems to be a trend, kind of the same thing, just this one worded it very well, I guess. He asked me, he says, well, what's the difference? He's like, why don't I just save the money from doing anything with podcasting and just go buy a bunch of pizzas and go door to door and hand out pizzas?
Okay, so you're not talking to the right people, Brooke. Not the
Mhm.
right people at all. Yeah. Because there's tons of people who understand the power of podcasting. I'm afraid that your posts and your conversation are probably too educational.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about this. Why do I not do educational posts? I don't. So it's the scale. Many of you have heard me say this. You can work with people who are at 0. You can work
Mhm.
with people who are at 4. You can work with people who are at 8, at 8.5, or a 9.5. Okay. When your posts are educational, you are literally saying, I work with people who are between a 0 and a 1.
Okay.
Okay. And you are speaking to them. Educational posts speak to people who are the worst potential clients. Okay. You
Okay.
you don't need to do educational posts for online entrepreneurs who understand the power of podcasting. What you have to switch to is this. You've went live 1,000 times. You have an amazing YouTube channel. Let's go the next, let's take it up
Okay.
a notch. Okay. That's what your language needs to be, because there's not a single online entrepreneur in my world that would be like, and I might as well do this. That it's way the wrong person. So make sure you don't do any educational posts. Don't
Okay.
do the authority thing. You don't have to tell your ideal client about the authority. Like you don't have to explain any of that. We know it. We
Mhm.
got it. I would just speak to the behavior that they already have. Okay.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that kind of response. Oh my gosh, this is literally the worst client for you. They shouldn't even be
Yeah.
in your space. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it blew my mind. I mean, when they said it like that, I mean, a lot of people do go like, I don't want to be a podcaster, but that one right there really, I think, hit the nail on the head as to what a lot of them are trying to get to when they're talking to me. And so I just need to then add as like one of the qualifications when I'm looking at somebody then is that they already have some sort of media presence that they're working with,
Yes.
like YouTube and
Yes.
things like that before, and not just try to be their first step into it.
You cannot be their first step into it. And I would drop all language about authority building and relationship building. I drop all that.
Okay.
Your ideal client already knows that. Yeah, and you bring up a good point. And this is why I ask the questions I do, like, what else are you already doing? Right?
Mhm.
Their behavior is telling you if they're ready for this or not. Like somebody who hasn't went live 500, like I'm getting ready to do this with Power Moves. Okay. So I'm
Mhm.
going to drop a video into Power Moves today. And it's going to say this. So in order for people to quote you and promote you on the internet, you need a body of work. If you haven't went live at least 100 times, go get talking. If you haven't been on 25 podcasts, go get on 25 podcasts. If you don't write content on social media every day, go write it 10 times a day, because it's ridiculous to think that you can do this thing without a body of work. So you need people actually who already have a body of work.
Mhm.
None of what you do intimidates them, confuses them, none of that.
Okay.
It's literally just their next step.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And
Okay.
what I want you all to know is this. I mean, I said this the other day. Whatever you put online, it attracts a certain person for a reason. Change your words if you're getting people who are this far off base, right? The
Mhm.
first post I did about power moods, I had 3 women jump in my inbox immediately, and they couldn't have been more wrong for it. So then I went back to my post, found the wrong words, took that out. Don't ever say that again. I don't know. That was not the right words.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? Yes.
I have a quick question. So I'm promoting my 10-day detox. I believe it's too short, like the 7 days, and I did not come out of the gate swinging, and I didn't do enough lives, and it's not over. So I'm going to say all those ands. So I don't know that, but as I'm saying that, I'm like, okay, I really need to wait till tomorrow night to ask the question of like, okay, so you promote, you do this great thing, now you promote something else and crickets. But again, you just said like in the last hour you had 10 people join. So I kind of feel like I have to wait. But I don't
So,
know if it's a valuable question anyways.
yeah, no, it's a valuable question. So, for example, when did you start this promotion, Amy? Was it Monday?
Yeah, like right after
So the
so I
first, yeah.
finished the 6 week and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something else because I need to be promoting constantly. So I just I stripped that out as a bonus and was like, okay, if this was too big of a commitment, they'll do this.
So this is what I want to say. Okay, first of all, you can always spot an overachiever from a mile away, right? So on March 1st, I was in Phoenix and Amy had finished her promotion on the 28th, I believe. Yeah. And then I come like Tuesday, I get home and I'm like, oh, she's promoting something new. And then I said, well, how long are you promoting it? She says, Friday. I'm never going to be mad that you jumped on something. Okay. I'm never going to be mad that someone I'm just diving in the pool, right? Never going to be mad about that. Now, would I have chose a longer promotion period? Yes. Does it matter? No. Here's the cool thing, okay? The work that we're all doing, no one's going to die, okay? No one's going to die. There's no emergency because Amy did this promotion and we didn't pause and create a strategy. No one's going to be harmed in the experiment we call business. So what you're doing is you're collecting data, like you said, for your next thing. So then you're going to be able to go, okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up on Friday, and then you're going to put in the note section of our thingamajigger, these are my observations. What were your observations, right? And then we're going to come up with the plan for the next thing. No harm, no foul. Okay.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? I want to touch on this DM strategy because Amy alluded to this a little bit. So how many of you have a DM sales strategy? Go ahead and let me know in the comments or the chat. Let me make sure I don't have another call. I don't think I do. Nope. It's meh. Developing. I like it. I like the the honesty. Okay. So this is what I'll say is most people, they don't have a good DM strategy. And mainly, do you want to know why most people don't have a good DM strategy? Because there's so many people on the internet who are like, the people who sell in the DMs, they're going straight to hell. They're the worst thing on the planet. Oh my God. So cringe, right? Well, guess what? They're unless they start paying your bills, we don't care. So, I sell in my DMs is well, yeah, it's definitely a strategy. Selling the DMs is a wonderful strategy. Okay, so this was something I accidentally fell into. Okay, I'm gonna be totally honest. I didn't think of this. I just like most things actually, I fall, butt first into it. So I think when I actually discovered this is I did that first program, got 11 people in, and then I hosted a month-long networking thing. And I had like 110, 112, 11 people, something like that in this thing. So I had 111 people plus 11 people. So I had about 120 people in my world. Okay. They had pulled their credit card out. And we had a great time together. They gave me testimonials. They were posting all over. I went to Monique's thing, is amazing. Yeah. And so one day I had this lightning bolt moment. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I send everyone who bought that or that, if I send them a private message and I invited them into my next thing and I invited them first? So I tell Derek, Derek's my sounding board. Hey, Derek, what if I do this? And he's like, yeah, do you want to give them like an incentive? Like, hey, because you did this other thing, I'll give you this thing at this yada yada if you join this many, all the things. So I said, okay. And then I went to my phone. I don't know why I get in the zone in my phone. And so I wrote a message in my notes, hi, Nancy. It was so good to have you in this thing. I'm getting ready to roll this out, but before I make it public, I wanted to personally invite you and you get it at 50% off. Okay. As long as you join by this day. And then I read it through and I like crossed out any unnecessary words. But the words that jumped out at me were personally invite you. Okay. Now I walk you all through this in Rich Mixer and even in the mastermind. I ask you to write stuff down on a piece of paper and cross off unnecessary words and what jumps out at you. Okay. So I copied and pasted. I went and I sent, maybe 20 a day because, Facebook gets angry until I covered everybody. And oh my gosh, do you know people like immediately, 1 second after I send it, absolutely send me the link. Absolutely. Oh, I'd love to. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Okay. So when they bought all of this, I decided I'm going to ask them why they said yes. And this is also a key question. As soon as someone pays you money, ask them why they said yes. Why did you buy this? Why did you come? Why'd you come to my event? Why'd you do this thing? Right. And so I went back and I said, great, here's the link they paid. And then I said, hey, real quick, Nancy, can I ask you something? Why did you say yes to this? Do you know 80% of the people said, and I quote, because you personally invited me. That blew my mind and I never forgot that. Oh, wow. The personal invitation. Okay. Now, people on the internet who demonize DM strategies, they don't get it. Okay. They think you're spamming people and no, when you personally invite someone into something that would be helpful for them, they like it. That's what I discovered. They're not offended. They're not irritated. They're like, wow, thank you so much for letting me know. I can't tell you how many of those people that first round and since have said, I so appreciate you letting me know. I definitely want to be in. Will you keep me in the loop for all the things? Like I want an invitation to all the parties, right? I don't want to be left out of this. So this is one way that you could do a DM strategy if you have a Facebook group. I've talked about this a lot. My Facebook group, the Facebook group I had until God, I don't know, 2024. Okay, so hear me on this. I had a Facebook group from 2014 or 2015 to 2024. And I never had more than 550 members. Okay. I never had a big Facebook group. Never. But do you want to know something? Every single person in there was a buyer. Okay. So what I did when I had my Facebook group is I sent every single member a message. Hey, Brooke, so happy to have you in Network Like the Rich Facebook group. Listen, my next upcoming training is on this. Is there anything that you need? I would just open the door of communication. I wouldn't come on like a dog jumping on their lap, licking their face. I would just welcome them, right? And let them know about the thing I was doing. This is about that connection and communication, right? So if you don't use the DMs for when you're selling, if you don't go back to people who've bought from me before, or people who've attended your thing before, or shown interest before, or members of your Facebook group, or whatever it is, this is a wonderful strategy. And also what I learned that time when I did take that third program public, and I was like, oh, here's the thing, I'm going to take this many people by this date. And by the way, right, this many people are already in. Oh, you see how that shifts the perception? She's already got that many people in. Like, what am I doing? Why am I not in? Okay. So, yes, Raquel.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, look, I just had an idea. Could be a dangerous one. Is what I'm thinking, right? But I just like had this idea of could I approach people via DM about something I can do with regards to group rage. Now, I'm not talking about a big kind of cathartic group rage craziness, but I'm trying to sort of figure out how I can keep that in some form of contained but group experience that I can just simply send a DM invitation to. And I'm just wondering if
I
anything.
like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what's coming to me. I don't have a pillow nearby, but I was part of something, and I honestly, I can't even remember what this was about, but I just had this memory because I was sitting right here, and there was a lady going through this it might have been a grief thing I did, yeah. And she was like, "Get your
Yeah.
pillow, and we're gonna scream into a pillow for this many seconds, and you're just gonna like absolutely like pull it up from your toes, and you're gonna get it out into that pillow."
Mm,
So I do think there's a way to facilitate it because it wasn't
mm,
chaotic and it wasn't
mm,
disorganized, but it was really powerful. So I do think there's a way that you could do that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've done quite a few of these live. I've done live workshops, so I do know how to do them from a live perspective. It's just because my emphasis is around processing within the capacity and nervous system and not outside. So there's very much a what is my nervous system capable of processing in this moment and not going outside of it. And that's really part of the coaching and the education part of being able to process rage. So I mean, it's pretty cool stuff, but yeah, okay. So maybe I just invite practitioners to come and experience that so that they then know how to watch for signs for their clients, etc. as well, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I mean, I just want, if anybody else wants to just comment and let me know if they think that's a good idea, that would be helpful, because I'm just like, should I just go ahead and invite people rather than go ahead and promote it, just simply do a DM
Yeah.
personal invite
I would do
strategy.
it. Yes. And I'm glad
Yeah.
you're saying this, Raquel, because I don't do
Mm.
all promotions publicly. I have some promotions
Yeah.
that are purely private in the DMs. Okay. So
Yeah,
I've
that's what I'm
had
thinking. With something like
promotions.
this would be perfect. Yeah.
It is perfect. It is perfect. So, there's different types of offers and different types of clients and different types of things. So, different types of price points. There's all kinds of reasons to have just a promotion in the DMs, right? And I think this one is a good candidate for it. Mhm. Yes. Amy Lewis and I are hatching a private promo right now. And here's the cool thing. It's just so fun. Like once you get over yourself and once you're clear on your stuff, right? I can have a public promo going. I can have a private one going in the DMs, right? We had this private one going. I can't remember when it was now, a couple of weeks ago. And then there was upsells built into the funnel. And so this private promotion, I think there was only 2 people who bought the single offer. Most of them bought 2 or 3 of the upsells. So this private promotion brought in so much revenue, right? And out here, nobody even knew what was going on. There's so many ways that you can do this. The thing is, though, this comes down to getting creative, being bold, being brave, putting yourself out there, right? And this is what most people are a little bit like, I don't know if I want to. Yeah. And so what I would say is this too, one of the best things you can do before you promote is like, ask yourself, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? What am I most afraid of? What's my worst nightmare in this? Like, just talk yourself through this, write it down, say it out loud. And most of the time, as soon as you say it out loud, you're like, well, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'm okay, right? And I used to do this, like when I would do my biggest, boldest promotions, I would tell myself, like, no matter what happens with this promotion, right? If you set off a fire on the internet, if everyone says no, you're okay. I still have a roof over my head. I still have my husband, my kids, my dad. I still have, I'm still having a T-bone for dinner. Like, I'm okay. Everything's going to be okay. Yeah. I walk myself through this, which, is necessary, because I don't know if you all saw today, like, I accidentally, right, with my twisted mind and sense of humor, I set the world on fire this morning. And it was like an inside joke with a client, right? And oh man, right? Got a lot of people got their panties in a wad this morning. And you have to be able to handle that. You have to be able to handle if something goes sideways, or you get criticized, or you're misunderstood, or, I was in the middle of a promo and a lady did a screenshot of my stuff and she's like, look at this woman, right? You have to be able to know that you can handle it. Okay. Anything else? So you need an irresistible offer. You need one big, bold promise. You need a time frame. You need dates that you're working within. You need pricing incentives. You need rewards and consequences, even if your thing's evergreen. And you have to repeat yourself a lot more than you think is necessary. You have to go beyond your own limit, beyond your own boredom, beyond your own mind, right? One of my favorite things about meditation I learned in Joe Dispenza's work is, like, once you can transcend the chatter, the mental chatter, the internal chatter, you can take yourself there over and over. When I'm in something and I can hear the mental chatter popping up, because it never goes away, right? Then I do the same thing. I get above it, right? When you're in a plane and there's turbulence and the pilot's like, we're going to go above it. We're going to get higher than this. That's the thing. Thank you all for joining me today. Such a great conversation. So helpful. Thank you, Amy, for being willing to talk about your journey publicly. Yeah. Here's to an amazing
Thank you so much. And I highly recommend you, Monique. And really, if you come in and just do what Monique says, put your head aside and then that's really, I just was like, okay, if I'm hiring another coach, I'm doing exactly what they say. I'm not. And I did pick very carefully. And quickly. So work with Monique. You won't be sorry.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate your comments and your experiences. See you soon.
Thank you.